Hey everybody, JC here with another TNI video, and this is going to be an unboxing video. I'm doing this live. It's actually, I think, the first kind of unboxing type video that I've done. Well, I guess I did a Avengers Infinity War box a while back, but this is kind of different. This is revealing a new product. So I'm going to be showing you guys for the first time in hand the new DC Essentials action figures from DC Collectibles. So these are going to be 7-inch scale figures. I'm going to be showing you. I've got the entire first wave, which includes Batman, the Flash, Deathstroke, the Terminator, and the Reverse Flash. And I'm going to show you all four in the packaging, and then I'm going to actually take out of the packaging the Batman figure and give you kind of a look and everything. We'll do some size comparisons and stuff, so you can see what this new line is going to actually entail. So these figures are slated to start hitting shelves next month in July. So I got these a little bit early thanks to the folks at DC Collectibles for sending these out to me. I will be doing in-depth reviews, normal reviews for all four figures over the course of the next week. So, like I said, this is just to kind of give you a first look, but then hopefully you guys will check back and watch the actual reviews. And I'll probably start with Batman. Batman, I think, is going to be the one that I opened today. But actually, I'll put it to you guys. Which out of the four figures, which is the one you want me to open up here today live on camera and take a look at? So let me go through the comments here. Let's see. Mr. Riaz from Mexico, greetings. Let's see. Batman, Peter gives a vote for Batman. Copper wants Deathstroke. Rogue Trooper wants Deathstroke. E Marvel wants Batman. Which one has more accessories? Johnny Halo 22. I think Deathstroke probably has the most accessories, though Batman does have an accessory. I'm not sure if the Flash figures have any accessories at all. That's the thing about these. So they're called DC Essentials for a reason. They're not going to be chopped with tons of accessories like multiple pairs of hands or alternate heads and stuff. Some figures like Batman does come with a basic accessory like his Batarang. Deathstroke, I think, has his basic weapons and stuff. So it's not like there's no accessories at all, but things like multiple hands and stuff, which honestly, oftentimes I'm not a huge fan of all the different pairs of hands. Sometimes I think companies go overboard on the alternate hands, but to keep costs down, that's basically why they're going this route. Let's see. Reverse Flash, 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 Deathstroke, Batman. All right, so guys definitely want to see a lot of them, but I think I'm going to stick with the Batman figure. Before we actually open, let me show you the figures themselves. So this is the packaging, and it's kind of hard because I got the lights in here, so it reflects on the packaging or on the blister. But this is Batman, so you can see it's pretty typical DC collectible action figure packaging. You've got the window box. We do have in gold foil up here at the top the 20th anniversary for DC Collectibles. They've been doing action figures and stuff for 20 years now, which is pretty cool. And then you got the DC Collectibles logo down here and stuff. So the Batman is figure number one in the Essentials line. So he is technically the first figure. And then on the back, you just have images of the figure and then the other figures in the first wave. The camera's kind of blurring out there. And then you have a little bio for the DC Essentials line. So I'll read it to you. It says the DC Essentials action figure line gets 2 new heroes and 2 new villains. Don't miss your chance to own your own brand new Batman, Deathstroke, The Flash, and Reverse Flash action figures. The Caped Crusader is ready for action in this 6.81-inch scale, or 6.81-inch tall, I guess. So technically, this figure, according to the packaging, is 6.81 inches. So these are going to be a little bit taller than Marvel Legends, which I'll actually show you in just a minute. But more on par with the older DC collectible, DC Direct figures that they used to do. And then the figure features 21 points of articulation. So these are said, and we'll cut. Yep, sorry, my phone ringing there. But these were said to be not necessarily the most articulated, meaning not having the most points of articulation, but the most posability, being able to get these in the best poses, even better than the icons. So definitely I'll be putting that to the test when I do a full in-depth review, but we'll take a look at the basic articulation here in just a minute. But so Batman is number one. Deathstroke, so each figure, each hero is paired off with the villain basically. So Batman, we get Deathstroke. Now I'm assuming they paired Batman with Deathstroke because of the upcoming movie. You know, Batman's gonna be taking Deathstroke on in the new Batman solo movie. And so I'm sure that's why they decided to pair Deathstroke. I don't normally, I mean, they faced off from time to time. They were, you know, Deathstroke was in one of the Arkham games and stuff. But generally, you know, when I think of Batman's number one villain, I don't necessarily think of Deathstroke. Nevertheless, you know, I do like Deathstroke and very glad we're getting a figure of him. And so Deathstroke has a sword and a pistol. He has a holster for the pistol, so that looks like is it. He just has the two accessories. He's got a sheath for the sword that he wears on the back there. So not again, not loaded up with tons of accessories, but definitely has his basic accessories. And I'm sure most of you guys have rifles and things like that that you can use, you know, use with the figure. Certainly, if you have the icons version, you can probably use those weapons with this one. So it looks like he has a knife down here, a little knife down here on his ankle. I don't know if that's removable or not. But Deathstroke is definitely, I think, a cool one. So that's figure number two. And then figure number three, we go back to a hero. So we've got the Flash. Now, Flash does not have any accessories at all. So Flash and Reverse Flash, they basically got nothing. Um, you know, I don't know what you really need with Flash. I mean, he's got looks like one open hand and one closed-fisted hand. Some lightning effects maybe would have been cool, but like I said, I can pretty much I've got enough Flash figures lying around that I can find stuff like that. So you know, I'm not saying I don't like figures when they're loaded with accessories, but I definitely, you know, if these are good made figures with good articulation, everything, I am I'll be very happy with that, even if they're not loaded up with accessories. And personally, you know, and again, I haven't actually opened any of these yet, but you know, I'm very excited for this line. I mean, I like the icons line. I thought it was a great line. And in fact, you know, I'll turn the camera here. So those are all my icon figures. And you know, so I definitely am going to miss that line. And truth be told, you know, I think there was some politics, intercompany politics that kind of killed the 6-inch line for DC Collectibles. It's kind of tough when multiple companies are doing essentially the same kind of figures. You know, the master license holder, you know, they end up competing with each other and stuff. So you know, I don't know if it was just lack of sales that killed the icons or something else, but you know, again, I definitely gonna miss that line. But if these figures are good, if they're well made, if they're good articulated, you know, if they've got good articulation, then I'm definitely going to be excited for these. And then the last figure is the Reverse Flash, so the villain. And obviously, you know, when you think of Flash villains, Reverse Flash is definitely one that comes to mind very quickly. So that definitely makes sense to me. So he's figure number four. And again, he does not come with any accessories at all, just the figure itself. And you can see the packaging is pretty much the same with all of them. Yeah, the colors are a little bit different. The colors on the bad guys are dark black here on the border, and then like Batman is gray and Flash is red. So again, very typical with DC collectible type packaging. Okay, so let's crack this baby open and take a look at the actual figure. So let's see. Cut the tape here on the side. Again, I just got these today, so I haven't actually had a chance to open these and play with them at all. So I'm kind of getting my first experience with these right here with you guys on camera. Again, I'm pretty excited for these. I've been looking forward to them ever since they were announced. I guess it was last year at San Diego Comic-Con, so it's been almost an entire year since they were first announced. Let's see. While I'm getting this open, DC or just the movie line. Who farted? I don't know, Steve. Who farted? I didn't fart. I know that. Let's see. I got my Figma today, Credo. Awesome for you. Not sure which Figma you got. Right, so I'm trying to open these without damaging the packaging too bad, and I'm not having too much success here. So we got a lot of tape on this one. Usually it's just like one piece of tape that they usually seal these up with, but okay, so here he is out of the packaging. So we've got a couple twisty ties here holding him in place, which we will carefully cut to free Batman with. Now on the back here, I don't know how many of you care about this kind of thing, but you just have images of the actual figures, the first 4 figures in the wave. Okay, so here he is out of the packaging. And I gotta say, right off the bat, paint apps look pretty crisp on this guy. So this is based on Batman Rebirth. So he's got the vinyl type rubber cape like we always see with the action figures, and it comes around and basically attaches to the neck piece. He's got whited out eyes, but overall that face sculpt looks pretty good. Looks kind of menacing like Batman, like you'd kind of expect for Batman. Good skin tone. He's got, let's see, just a gray paint throughout most. You've got some black and yellow on the belt. And then you got some glossier blue here, looks like on the gauntlets. Of course, you got those traditional, whatever you call these, Batman gauntlet things that he always has. I'm pretty sure these have an official name, but I don't know what, I never know what they are. I'm sure one of you guys probably know if there is an actual official name for those. And then he's got the blue belt. So overall, very nice figure, very nice looking. Let's see. So let's pull out the DC Icons Rebirth Batman figure here. Let me go over here to the case and grab them out. So I got a few different icons. So I've got the Nightwing icons, the Batman figure, and then the Robin figure. So I'm going to turn the camera down here a little bit so kind of get better looks. So first of all, let's do a size comparison with the icons and the new essentials. So you can see the new essentials is much taller. And colors are a bit different. So the cape on this new essentials, the blue is a lighter color. It's much darker. It's actually black on the icons version. And you got the belts look pretty much the same and everything. The grays on the essentials are a little bit darker, but otherwise, they look pretty much the same as far as sculpting. Face sculpts are pretty similar to one another. Not exact, but pretty close. Both are good. I don't know how detailed this camera is showing the figure. So again, I will be having a detailed video review and image gallery that we'll post up on Toy News Eye probably tomorrow. I'll probably start with Batman, and we'll have that up probably tomorrow. Okay, so and this to see how others compare other icon figures, so if you want to use your Nightwing, Nightwing here comes up to about his shoulder. So I don't know, you could probably make that work. Um, I don't know, probably Nightwing when he's older should be about the same height as Batman, but I don't know. Depends on how much of a stickler you are, but I think if you put these two on your shelf, it wouldn't look that bad. And then with the Robin, the Robin, I think, definitely kind of works if you want to put these two together. I mean, I'm sure eventually we will get these characters in the Essentials line, but if you want to kind of mix and match your icons, some of these shorter characters you could probably get away with. Okay, so what else do we want to know about the figure? So let's just kind of go over the articulation here. So first of all, with the head movement, sorry, I've never done this on a live video like this at my desk, so bear with me a little bit, but he's got pretty good head movement. And he can actually look down pretty good. You got that hinge joint there. And then he can actually look up pretty good as well. So he's got pretty good head movement overall. And then with the arms, of course, you can get the arms out. It's your standard ball hinge type joint there at the shoulder. It's got good rotation. Now the cape does limit some of the rotation, but you can still get it all rotated all the way around. He's got the bicep swivel. He's got a double hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow really good. And then he's got rotation at the wrist and hinges on the hand. So up and down movement. Joints feel pretty sturdy overall. Doesn't feel like they're going to break easily. Maybe a little bit rubberized on the neck here, but it doesn't really feel like it's going to break on me. You might want to handle these a little bit with caution, but overall, I would say the joints, feel fairly sturdy, which is good. Sometimes in the past, DC collectible figures have had some issues with their joints. He can crunch down. He can crunch down about that much. And then he's got a waist rotation. So with the legs, he can do the splits good. So you do get some gappage there between the legs and the waist. You can kind of pose it to hide it a little bit, but definitely you do see some gappage there. But that allows you to get good. That allows you to get good leg movement, forward movement, and you can do it kind of out and back. Got a thigh swivel, double jointed knee, has a boot cuff swivel, and then has ankle hinges on the feet. Does have ankle pivot, so you do get some ankle pivot with this one, and then you have rotation as well. Now, no peg holes on the bottom of the feet for these though. So overall, I would say the articulation is pretty close to being on par with, say, like a Marvel Legend. I need to play around with it a little bit more to get a better feel for it, but overall, I would say the articulation is pretty good with this. Okay, so I am going to step to this cabinet in the back and I'm going to grab a Marvel Legend figure so we can do a size comparison because I know a lot of you want to know how these size up with the Marvel Legends. I'm also going to pull out a 7-inch DC collectible figure, one of the Arkham Batman figures. I don't know how if you can hear it on the camera, but there's somebody running a generator or something outside. So if that is showing up on the video, I do apologize for that. Okay, so first of all, here's the Batman, and here's your Marvel Legend. So let me bring the camera. Sorry, giving you motion sickness, but I want to bring the camera down a little bit more to actual. Okay, so you can see Batman is definitely a bit taller than Captain America here. This is the Cap Wolf Marvel Legend figure, and you can see, I, honestly, I don't know if Batman should be taller than Captain America or not. Probably should be about the same height, but I think they work pretty good. And then this is the DC collectible Arkham Batman figure. and these two are about the same height. Batman, the Arkham Batman's a bit taller because he's got the longer ears, but for the most part, they're about the same height. Actually, maybe the Arkham Batman is a hair taller. Even the head itself sticks up a little bit over. So the Arkham Batman is a hair taller than the Essentials Batman. Okay, so do you guys have any questions that you want to know, or what? Let me know what you guys are thinking out there. Let's see. Let me read some of your comments here. Mystery solved, not compatible with Legends. So yeah, Peter, didn't really think they were going to be 100% compatible. Again, they're more of a 7-inch scale figure. DC or Marvel Legends are definitely a 6-inch, but they're close. I mean, like I said, they're not. You're not going to get exact, but they're close. Let's see. Any accessories? That's at 85. So again, Batman comes with a batarang, and then the Deathstroke figure comes with a sword and a pistol. The two Flash figures do not come with any essentials. So some figures do come with some essentials, but they're very, bare essentials. They're not going to be loaded up with tons of things like alternate heads and hands and all that kind of thing. Definitely try scale with Marvel Select. I don't have a Marvel Select figure handy here. I will try and do that comparison in my actual full-on review, but I don't have one handy to pull out and do. It probably, since those are 7-inch scale figures, probably would be closer to actual scale. MSRP on these should be $25 for the single pack figures. So, and then there's like we know of one 2-pack, which is going to be the Shazam and Black Adam, and that one I think is 50 or $55 off the top of my head, is how much that one's going to go for. But these should be at your comic shop. Should be costing you about $25. Until says WTF, $25. Well, if you're wondering, again, these are I know some of you are like, well, Marvel Legends are $20. Why are these $25? And the simple answer is these are from a smaller company. They have smaller distribution. Um, and just based on today's market prices, unfortunately, that's where they go. It's kind of a bummer, I know, but it's not like the company is trying to rip you off. It's just that is pretty much just a standard type price for figures like this from a small company. Let's see who else is all announced. So I'm going off the top of my head, Outer Flame, but I know we've got Superman with the red trunks. He's going to be released. We've got Brainiac. We've got a Brainiac figure that's been announced. We've got Nightwing. Nightwing has been announced, definitely. And we've got, let's see, who else? We've got the Shazam and Black Adam, which is going to be a 2-pack. There's a Green Lantern figure that's been announced. Aquaman, I believe, has been announced. Black Manta has been announced. Um, Wonder Woman, I believe, has been announced as well. What we don't know is who the villain that's going to basically the villain counterpart for Wonder Woman and the villain counterpart for Nightwing. We still don't know those. They have not announced those yet. Wonder Woman, I'm guessing, is probably going to be Cheetah, but I have no idea who they're going to give us with the Nightwing figure. Deathstroke would be my normal guess, but since we're already getting Deathstroke with Batman, we'll have I really don't know. Joker would be cool. Definitely would love to see a Joker. Let's see, Jay, are these the best articulated DC figures out there? Uh, I really have to kind of play with these a little bit more before I would be willing to sit here and say these are definitely the best articulated. But yes, I would say they are in general seem to be better articulated than like the multiverse figures. As far as like the icons, I don't know. I'll have to do a little more playing around with, but definitely on par with icons, if not better. I think where the more articulation is just the cut of the joints, so like you can probably bend the elbows a little bit more and lift the heads up a little bit more. So not necessarily more points of articulation, but just better posability. But until I get a chance to actually play with these, I'm not going to say 100% that they are, but definitely they seem to be well articulated and the joints seem to be well made. So no complaints, at least with this first figure right off the bat. See, comics legend JC, what do you think about the BS with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles selling out from the website in 30 seconds? I had them in my cart finalizing my purchase when it says sold out. WTF. Well, it's a little off topic there, comics legend, but honestly, I'm not terribly surprised. It was the same way that in previous years with those turtle sets. Um, they're very popular and they get promoted pretty well from all the different websites, and so everybody's online. So I'm not surprised. I know it's frustrating. The good news is you'll have another chance tomorrow and then another chance on Friday. So hopefully you'll have better luck on one of those days. I wouldn't pay more than Marvel Legends for that crap. Angelia. Well, unfortunately, I don't know what to tell you. $5 isn't that big a deal in the world of action figures, but certainly you got to do what you got to do. But I definitely think these seem to be well-made figures. So if you want a good quality figure, it's definitely cheaper than an import figure. Um, so there you go. See. Is the scale good with Marvel Legends, Mr. Prince? So, Mr. Prince, maybe you're coming in late, but they're not 100% in scale with Marvel Legends. You can see here the Captain America figure is a bit shorter than Batman. I don't think they're horrible. I think they certainly could sit on the same shelf and not look too bad, but they're not 100% in scale. Brent, you have to put the top down on the convertible this week. Yeah, the wife's got the convertible this week, so but definitely the warm weather is here, which is good. Can you compare with Masters of the Universe classic figure? Chris Allen. Actually, if you want to hold on a second, I can do that. So I gotta climb up. I don't know if I'm even on camera, but I gotta climb up on this chair. But all right, so Skeletor here. This is for Chris, and yeah, these are pretty good scale with one another. Batman's a hair taller than Skeletor, but definitely I think the scale works if you want to mix and match your Masters of the Universe, and they have crossovers in the comics, so not why not with your action figure out, right? Can you see E Marvel? Can you please show face up close, please? I assume you mean Batman, not mine, but yeah, I'll show you a close up. Fortunately, the camera can get a little lighting a little bit. This camera, I don't know. When I get close, it's not going to focus that good. So that's probably as good as it's going to get. Again, I'm going to have an in-depth review of this, and we'll have an image gallery up at Toy News Eye probably tomorrow. So definitely, there we go. Focus in a little bit better there. So definitely, I'll give you guys better close-ups of all the figures over the course of the next week. But I think overall this is a really nice looking figure. Um, So yeah, I'm definitely kind of excited. Maybe Marvel Legends are too short, Rogue Trooper. Well, it's possible. I mean, they're not the same scale line. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. This is more of a 7-inch scale line, and Marvel Legends are a 6-inch scale line. So they're not really, meant to be the same scale. I know that irritates people. I know people were irritated with icons that they were a little bit shorter than Marvel Legends. It's just, they're different companies, and they're not the exact same scale. But see. Wow, the trailer. Wow, they're taller than Marvel Legends. That sucks big time for me, Mr. Prince. Yeah, again, Mr. Prince. I mean, the thing is, and at least I can't speak for everybody, but when I've talked about these figures, I've pretty much said up front that these were going to be a little bit taller than Marvel Legends. So it shouldn't really be that big of a surprise to folks that these are a little bit taller. Looks like it has a thigh rotation, so that's better than DC Icons already. Yes, it definitely has a thigh rotation, has a boot cuff swivel, has a double jointed knee, so definitely ankle pivot, so definitely well articulated in that regard. see. Action Figure World says screw Marvel Legends. Rogue Trooper. I'm okay with the size as long as my Thor can throw down with the Shazam. Yeah, I imagine they can throw down Thor, or Shazam's gonna be a little bit taller than Thor probably, but Tyler Mitchell, since DC Comics is doing a relaunch of their Justice League comic, do you think they're going to do a box set of the new comic roster that they've been doing with the other box sets? Definitely a good possibility. DC Collectibles. One thing I like about DC Collectibles is they seem to like to stay current with like the current outfits in the comics. And I guess because they're part of DC Comics, they get access to that stuff before any of us actually ever see it. So it allows them to kind of get a jump on the design phase of the figures. It's not always the case, but generally, they do a pretty good job of staying current with their costumes and everything. So I think that's definitely a possibility. Would loved a butterfly joint and some extra accessories, but looks good overall, according to David. Now, I will say, and not saying anything definitive here, but I do know there was some ideas being tossed about that they might do a deluxe version of the line where they issue some figures with a lot more accessories. They would be more expensive, but if you really like a lot of accessories, that might be something that DC Collectibles considers doing down the road. Again, nothing definitive or definite with that, but if that's something you guys really would like to see, again, it would make the figures more expensive, but you definitely should let DC Collectibles know. I don't have a Toy Aisle Alliance. I don't have a multiverse figure with me right at the moment, but definitely when I do a full-on review, I'll do a comparison with that. I'm not going to open the Reverse Flash today. No, I've misplaced the reverse. Oh, here it is over here. But I'll show it to you here. So here's the Reverse Flash in the packaging. And he looks pretty good. I'm guessing, let's see. So here's a comparison of the Flash and the Reverse Flash. Let's see if these are using essentially the same bodies, only repainted. And it looks like they might be. Um, but both look good. I mean, again, I know a lot of you were like when we showed the Shazam pictures, were like they're using the same bodies, but to me, when it makes sense, it doesn't really bother me that much. Um, they could have maybe tweaked Black Adam a little bit over Shazam, but I don't know, just doesn't bother me that much. But I know it does. Some of you guys, you like that kind of all that exact detail and such. Let's see. Lewis Cox, I didn't mind the DC icons, but I don't know about essentials. They seem cool in this video, but they seem cool. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're taller. They're taller than DC icons, and of course, they don't quite have as many accessories. So, but I actually, as far as those of you who want more in keeping with Marvel Legends and stuff, I think being a little bit taller is better than being a little bit shorter. Maybe that's just my personal preference. Um, but I don't know. Anyway, let's see. I'm shocked that Batman's cape, cowl, and gloves and boots aren't black. Yeah, I guess they wanted to differentiate it a little bit from the Icons one, so they gave him the blue cape and mask and gloves and everything as opposed to black. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what is more comic book accurate these days. So, but I like the blue. I think the blue is more in keeping with Batman than the black, but that's just my personal preference. Steve Brent, who collects Lego? I'm not a huge Lego collector, so I guess I can't really count myself in that part. Let's see. Tim Winters, do you think they will do a Red Hood, not a Joker, but Jason Todd? Yeah, I think any character is possible, possibility. Hopefully the line will be successful and they'll do a ton of characters. I mean, if we go back, I know a lot of people were upset about icons being cut short and everything and figures being canceled. But if we go back to like their new 52 line, I mean, they did a ton of figures and characters for that line. And that was a great line. The only problem I ever had with those figures is the articulation was a little bit weak, which they've essentially corrected with these figures. So that's why I'm really kind of excited about these figures. Is it's the kind of detail and sculpting that we got with the new 52 figures that they did. Only now we're getting the added articulation. So definitely, I think that's pretty cool. All right, so I am gonna probably wrap this up. So I'll take a couple more questions. I'll take three more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. So let's see. Can you play side by side? Can you play side by side with Icons and Marvel Legends all at the same time? I will try if I can fit them all on the camera here. All right, so I don't know how well. Icons, which is the shortest, Essentials, which is the tallest, and then Marvel Legends, which is in the middle. Never understood DC's aversion to proper articulation. I think it's a combination of keeping costs down and then also just the aesthetics of the figures. A lot of people argue that when you over articulate a figure, it takes away from the look, which can be the case sometimes. And so, there's just a lot of companies deal with this battle of trying to keep a figure looking good and also trying to make it articulated. So that's a big issue that often plays. And as technology has improved with these figures and stuff, making the figures and stuff, I think it's become easier to add articulation and still make the figure look good. But definitely, if you go back to early Marvel Legends and stuff, some of those figures, even though were super articulated, definitely kind of look bad, in certain static poses and stuff. That's definitely Todd McFarlane's argument. Every time I've talked to him is about he wants to keep his figures looking good, and that's why he doesn't do articulation, which I think he definitely could use doing some more articulation, but that's just my opinion, I guess. I guess he's been successful all these years, so I guess it works. But I definitely would be more of a fan of an action figure line from a company like that if they added a bit more articulation. Let's see, do you think they might do an accessory pack like they did with the Icons line? Be yourself. Yes, I think that would be a great idea as well. I think, and again, I think if the line sells well, you could definitely see something like that. I don't think those accessory packs for the icons did very well though, so I don't know. It's one of those things where people always ask about, and then when companies actually do them, they never seem to sell that well. So it's one of those where it really depends on whether people are willing to put their money where their requests are, or where their mouths are. So, um, but I think that would be a cool idea if they did accessory packs, so you could load up the figures with lots of accessories. Let's see. All right, one more question. Let's see. Clam powder. Do you think they'll adjust scale to better fit the Marvel Legends? No, I don't. Again, these are 7-inch scale figures, and they're not really meant to be in the same scale. So the thing about Marvel Legends, so the problem with Marvel Legends scale, and this is just my thought process. This isn't anything that anyone specifically has told me, but as you know, DC Collectibles is not the only company that has the license to make DC action figures. And in fact, they're not even technically the DC master action figure master holder. That's Mattel. So essentially, Marvel Legends scale is pretty much the same scale as DC Multiverse. And so it's really hard for a company to do exact same figures in the exact same scale, um, and I think if they tried to do Marvel Legend figures in the 6-inch scale, that would essentially put them in direct competition with the multiverse figures, which I think is kind of the problem that Icons ran into. Even though they weren't the exact scale, it was close enough that it really kind of started infringing on the master license and what they were doing. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is the big issue with doing Marvel Legend scale. But again, I mean, they're fairly close. I mean, if you want your Captain America to battle Batman, I don't think, this looks that bad, especially when you start putting them in dynamic poses and stuff. It's just really, sometimes I think people just get a little bit too hung up on, being the exact same scale and everything. Um, I don't think it's that big a deal personally. You could definitely put these two figures, the Marvel Legend and the Batman, into good fighting poses, and I think it would look good. Again, that's my opinion, but that's I definitely think well, again, it's just my opinion, but that's where I stand. Well, all right, one more. I don't honestly care about these not being in scale with Marvel Legends. It did bother me that DC started doing smaller scale figures with icons when they did 7-inch scales for years. You're right. I mean, and definitely, you can't make everybody happy. So when they went to 6-inch to try and kind of match up better with Marvel Legends, then all the people who collected the 7-inch scale figures were upset. And it's hard to make everybody happy in this hobby, no doubt. I don't envy these companies trying to cater to everybody's needs. But again, I think overall, these seem to be pretty solid figures. I will have more thoughts on these when I start, doing the in-depth review. I should hopefully have the Batman review up tomorrow. I may not get to the others until next week. Might get two up this week. I don't know, but definitely this week and next week I'll be getting reviews of all these with image galleries and stuff, and I'll have more thoughts to share with you guys. So I do appreciate you guys, checking this out. I'm still fairly new to doing these live videos, so forgive me if you get background noise or if the camera doesn't focus as good as it should. I'm still trying to get the hang of these live videos, but definitely glad you guys came and checked it out. And hopefully, you guys will check out all the in depth individual reviews for these figures. So until next time, guys,